Welcome back. So, the other day we were working on OS detect rearrangement so that we have each one of the menus on different, each one of the operating systems on different files. Okay. And so we have managed to do that, and the last thing we were talking about is exploring submenus for the different Linux boot options, normal, single recovery, and well, if we had to group entries based on partitions or something like that, that's something that has crossed my mind, and that's something that you want to be working on. So yeah, so I think we already did a new branch so that we can work with this. So now we have 32 and 33. Everything is in the same place, and you can see how the latest day what we did is, so this OS detect, all of these OS detect worked has been squashed into two commits. The first one is prepare everything so that you can work with this, and then just add all of the OS detect files. And so now I want to work on the Linux side, and we will do the same thing with FreeBSD and probably OS X. Okay, so FreeBSD and OS X too. And this is something that we're going to do right now. So we are in dev33. Let me see if the Docker works. Doesn't work with dev33 apparently. Let's fix that so that we don't have anything, we don't have any surprise here, and we can run this just for fun even if it's not needed. Okay, so OS detect Linux. So the first thing we need to do, as we said today, was to change this loop inside here so that we have the Linux entry add stuff in a different order, and that's it. I mean, and then you have the BTRFS too, which is similar but not the same thing. So let's try to do that. So I copy this thing here, kernel option, which is different, and then I also copy the Dawn. Where's fucking, okay, there is another Dawn, which is the biggest one. So I copy this here, and I'm going to do the same thing on down here. Okay, so we have this Dawn stuff. So this means that this big loop here is being removed, and also the loop from here that we had related to this. So now, yeah, so now this down loop should be regarding defs. So we can move all of this to the left so that it's in the right place. Okay, and I think we should be fine with this. So my first commit, it's going to be, you know, rearrange menus std OS detect Linux. Now this is much easier than before where you had to specify Linux. So rearrange entries, group entries by version. yeah, group entries by version. It's not the same thing, but so now we can have main. Okay, didn't need to do that, but okay. So now we're going to have this new version which we can test. And press ask number 2. So now when we go into Linux, doesn't matter where we call this, now we no longer have normal boot, recovery boot, and single boot, like 3 normal, 3 recovery, because that was my initial thought about having everything of this in different options so that you can go into advanced then call recovery or single. But now we're going to do everything advanced, so this is going to be a menu. Okay, and let's do it. I mean, this should work. Let's wait a minute, and this should work as expected. Yeah. Okay. Now we are in the boot menu. We can close this, and we can work on the submenu stuff, which is what we want to do here. Let's see how the hell do we do this. So submenu, let me see. Submenu has a title, and then you put some menu title. Yeah. Okay, let's try and see how this would work. So submenu has a title, which is, wait a minute. That's interesting because you don't actually do the menu here, but in Linux entry add, which is concerning. I'm not sure. I mean, this is not as easy as I initially thought. So we have this loop here, okay, and then we have this Linux entry add function, which is the one that makes this name here. So once we have this name, look at that, kernel option. So we actually want a name that it's all of these. Yeah, maybe we can just copy and paste this, and do not think too much about if the name is done twice or whatever. So the idea would be that this is the name for this menu, but we can remove the kernel option str, and I mean, actually this has spaces, so we need a space here. Then we can do like this, and then we put all of the stuff here. So this would be the way of doing this for the non okay, so do we have kernel here, or is it another name? No, we don't. So kernel is the fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's kernel file. But we knew that this was not going to be easy. Device is the second one, which matches device. Okay, and this is what usually you have. And do we want a plus here so that you can know that you can select more stuff? I don't think so. Okay, let's try this thing. Like, let's make a commit. Then we will do the, what's the thing? We will do the BTRFS one. So this is OS attack linux.cft. Kernel options as a menu. Okay. So now we can do this and run all of this. Yeah. We will see if this fails or not. Press ESC, number 2. Let's make this bigger. So boot manually Linux. What do we have here now? Oh, look at that. Now we only have 4 of those. So these are 2 different kernel versions, and these are 2 different kernel versions. I mean, maybe this is Debian and this here is Ubuntu. I have no idea. You know what I mean? So now we go into this one, and we cannot go back because okay, and we don't have any of what we are used to, which is the different names, and that's because wait, what? Why is that? Is it because this is defined on the submenu scope? You don't get to get the names. Oh my god, that's the really interesting. So if you define, if you go into the menu entries, so this submenu is running Linux entry add before it goes into the submenu, and that's why it hasn't managed to parse all of these properly. I guess, unless there's something about the submenu variables scope that it's doing this so wrong. I mean, I wonder if this is fixed. I wonder if this is an actual bug and this is fixed on 2.08 or Grub2 that was something that I wasn't expecting to see here. And now that I think about it, maybe we could just put in a space and that's it, so that you've got recovery and single on the same place. I mean, I don't care if... Okay, let me see what happens with some menu title. I mean, here on main.cft we have a submenu title, and I'm wondering, yeah, and this menu entry is done inside of it, not outside of it. Then you've got this process option stuff, which might help on putting all of this stuff together. Yeah, let me take a look at some menu title. I want to see if it would help us. So wait, it's here, main.cft. So we should be copying it. Submenu title. Second option prefix str, chosen second option sleep. Yeah. chosen. Yeah, that's process source enable, process enable. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, because you're supposed to be having these CFGs for the submenu to work. I mean, we use CFGs on these submenus for this to work. We never had. I mean, I might do this thing about identity stuff so that it's easier to implement rather than having a submenu here. So the first one should be the normal one, and then it's recovery and single, because otherwise doesn't make sense. How the hell do we do this? Do we want to work too much on how this is shown in here, or is it something that we don't care about? Because Linux entry add I mean, we might use Linux entry add for one kind of boot, which is a normal boot, and then the rest of it is a special boot. And then what you have here as a menu entry, it's different. So yeah, we could actually have a Linux entry add, or maybe we can have an option and that's it. I mean, this kernel option stuff, it's put here, so we could use the kernel option being empty or not to having one title or the other one, and I might end up doing so. Yeah, maybe that's the best way of doing this. So right now, do we have any change on this submenu? Yeah, because the latest one was regarding put everything into submenu. So let's restore this so that we have the submenu, and then let's do this reset hard 1, and now we should be fine. And if you take a look here, you have the submenu. You still have this loop about kernel options, but now we're going to do something different, which is, depending on the kernel option, you are going to have this thing, but in with the kernel option. So let me fix this. So this is menu entry title equals all of this shit here. Okay. Damn it. So what you actually want to do is, if you don't have anything to do, you just have the menu entry as is. However, if you have a kernel option, maybe it's just the right way of doing this is, yeah, kernel option str. I mean, I could do it like this. Wait, no, I mean, I want to use kernel option and that's it. I don't need to set kernel option str here anymore, but that's what we're going to use. So menu entry title, it's going to be here, and that's it. Look at that. So menu entry title, it's going to be this wait a minute, it's going to be this tab, and it's going to be more like single, so kernel option single and whatever. So if you don't have any option, then you are like that. Otherwise, yeah, I think this might work because we are making stuff like this, and it's more or less what you are supposed to be doing. So once again, menus SGD OS attacked Linux. What the hell are we going to do here? Ident special kernel options. Okay. Now let's see what happens when we run all of this. Because we also want to be able to, so press ask number 2. Sorry about that, but 0 viewers, so doesn't matter too much. So let's boot Linux. Let's see how we see here. Look at that. So you've got this Linux, and then you've got recovery single. You know, you can see how you have this Linux, and then you have recovery single, and so on. You know what I mean? Yes, you could maybe what's the name? You could maybe make grouping by partition, but you know. Let's see how all of this is shown here. I'm quite curious. Okay, so not detected. All of this stuff is not detected. Nice. And then you've got Linux. And you can see how this is recovery and single is for this Linux. And then you extract entries or whatever it is. Yeah, look at that. This is quite nice. Yeah. Okay, so I think we are done for this stuff. I mean, now we need to work with Mac and so on. So let's see how we do all of this with Mac and so on. Wait, we need this to do the same thing with BTRFS. Yes, so BTRFS we should do this trick here also. So let me see how the hell do we do this. There's no difference between one thing or the other. The only thing is how you deal with the other stuff. But regarding what you are doing here, I would say that this is exactly the same thing, so we can just use it, and that's it. So this kernel option and so on, and let's copy this menu entry title here. Okay, Okay, so instead of all of this, we have this menu entry title, and that way we can also have btrfs thanks to this. I mean, actually this thing about dot 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 should be a variable somewhere so that we can change this only once. Maybe the final option tab, maybe another one. You know, I don't know if it's something that I want to do right now. Maybe I will work on this later on. So this should be added to the previous commit, and now we should have this like that. So we are changing the menu title here and here, and exactly the same thing, and the only difference is that this menu entry title here you have more stuff, or maybe you don't, but you do some stuff differently down there. So now we should be able to test this new change, and it should work as always. I mean, it should not be a problem for the non-BTRFS boot, you know what I mean, but this is something that you want to test. You want the BTRFS guys to test for you, so that both manually Linux, so you've got this recovery single and so on. Okay, yeah, actually those points, those design points match Linux, so that's something that you want to use yourself, not, yeah, let's keep it that way. Let's not do this global stuff. So if you have many kernels in a single partition, well, you do, and that's it. I don't know. Yes, we could group by partitions, but right now we are focused on this thing about having a special boot entries done in such a way that done in such a way that it's easier to find them grouped on. So maybe we should work on Mac OS, which is OS X, and let's see how we do this. Hopefully, maybe, yeah, the OS. Let's see how is this dealt. So we have this OX entry add thing, okay, and then we have verbose mode. So I understand that the verbose mode, it's what, the default one, and then the rest of it are not so special. So you've got here this menu entry tab, so you've got the description and so on. Yeah, so we need to do something similar here. And so is there anything that we have to do here? No, we only have to do something like this. Okay, so look at that, this is on the right, the other one it isn't. I mean, there are a lot of stuff that could be improved, if you ask me, but you know, we're not doing that yet. So kernel option now should be arcs. Is it like that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this should be number 5, which is arcs. Okay, number 5 is arcs. So what we are testing here is arcs. Yeah. So if it args equals -v, which is the default stuff, we are going to have the original what's the hell is this? The original menu entry title. It's going to be this thing here. Okay, look at that. And the same thing should happen here. Let me do exactly the same thing here. However, we're going to change this in such a way that where's the description here? So that, I mean, we don't know the length of any of this, so this should be doing, we should be doing this here actually, so that you have exactly the same thing. And then I guess that you want the description. So the description already has parentheses. No, it does not. So I want the description to have parentheses, because wait a minute, because I want, so it makes more sense to me to have parentheses here. And this should also have wait a minute, this is desk. Yeah, I mean, this kernel option stuff doesn't matter too much. So I want this like this, desk, and then you've got the different descriptions here, and that's it, I guess. So now this menu entry title can be used here, whereas the end can be used here, and you should be fine with all of this. So if the arguments are -v, then whatever you do this, okay? And it's a pity because we are not going to be able to test this. So ident special kernel options. I mean, it's the same thing, but with the other one, which is OS X. Wait. Yeah, I haven't added anything, so it's not obvious that it's going to do. I mean, shouldn't we check what the hell we have done here? So we have removed the menu entry and then added an enter and test if the args are -v, which is verbose, and then you can find this additional option. So the default one is verbose, but you have additional ones there. So now I can say that OS X, I want to ident special options. Let's try this real quick, and at least it should not break anything else. So if I press ESC, then number 2, the textual boot methods, we should not have any problem related to OS X. Something wrong. Okay, so Mac OS Darwin not detected. Okay. Return to main menu. So boot manually here, and Mac OS Darwin. Nothing special to say here. I'm not going to test Mac OS X, but yeah, maybe ask for feedback on Linux entries with different kernel options. With kernel options PTRFS, Mac OS X with different kernel options. Okay, and FreeBSD with different kernel options. Yeah. So now we need to do FreeBSD. Okay. And I'm going to use the OS. I'm going to use the OS Detect X stuff because it's really good. So down here we have the FreeBSD. By the way, do we have FreeDOS? Do you also have some different menu entries or something? This exclusive? No, it's just like that. We're missing. What was the name? What was this operating system, that Windows clone thing? I don't remember, but I should remember. React OS. We don't have a React OS thing here. I thought we had one. Bought freeloader from Group. I mean, 2008. What goes in Group? 2010. B Linux many entry. Windows XP. Boot freeloader from Group. Okay, from Group 2. No, okay. Kernel free LRD. What? Isn't this FreeDOS? Wait a moment. Kernel.sys. So we can add React OS. Why I haven't seen this thing? Let's do it. Add React. I mean, you probably have a crew.cfc inside React OS. So yeah, this is quite easy to do. 2024, and man, look at that multi-boot free LRD stuff. Yeah, so this is what we are supposed to be using. Do we have a link for this? No, we don't, unless there's this. What the hell? Okay, then it has been changed. Rewrite, thanks. And when this happened? Okay, so this is from 29 to 29. I mean 2009, 2009, and this should be. Yeah, this is from the future, so I think we are fine with this thing here. So add React OS support based on this thing. It should be rather easy to do it based on maybe FreeDOS. From maybe on based on maybe current FreeDOS entries. Yeah, this is something we can do on 2024 quite easily. Okay, so FreeBSD thing. Let's move this to the right so that it's easier to find out here. So FreeBSD has different ways of doing this, and they are quite different. So we have like, yeah, and then we have the other ones, which are the UFS variants thing. So yeah, so as long as we have all of this, we should probably, I mean, if it's not something that there's no loop where you put, okay, so this single thing means that you have this minus s parameter, here you have this minus v, but then here you have no ACPA, and it's something completely different. So it's not something that you can work only with the kernel options. So it's not going to be as easy as we did before with all of this, but at the same time it is going to be, because I'm going to do this thing here like this, and now I can just use single here, and I'm good with that. So once again, this should be like that, and now I can just use propose, and we are fine with it. So we put this like this, and this is no ACPA, no ACPI. Okay, the same thing should happen here, which I'm seeing that it's quite different than the rest of them. So maybe I can copy this like here, like this way, like this. Okay, and now we can just use safe mode instead of whatever we had before. Look at that. Now yeah, so the same thing should happen here. So this is the default bootloader. Oh, this is something that I guess, yeah, let's use this as a default. So this is normal, and this then you have the default bootloader. I mean, I didn't think that this was a thing. So something like this. I mean, it's another different option that should be here. So now we're going to do exactly the same thing, okay, with our FreeBSD stuff. So once again, we can use this like this, and now I just want to have single. And once you have that, it's just a matter of copy and paste just next to the whatever this is. So this is verbose, this is no ACPI, okay, and this is safe mode, okay, and this is the default bootloader again. Yeah, look at that. I mean, why not? And that's very, very nice. So, I mean, the only thing that's different than Linux stuff and OS Detect is we have this space, and here we also have this space on kernel option thing. So you probably want to have a space here so that everything feels the same for all of the kernel options of Super Grub2 Disk. Yeah, that's something that we want to do like that. Let's not forget up here. So safe mode, no ACPA, verbose. Apparently this is something that it's used quite often in yeah, okay. I think we are quite good with this thing here, and we can make a commit. So hit diff. You can see how this has been changed, and all of the points are the same place where FreeBSD was. So we should be quite fine with all of this. So this is FreeBSD, and now we can also say that we have these special kernel options. Let's do this. Okay, so press ESC, make this bigger. It's number 2. So now I can boot manually FreeBSD stuff. We shouldn't have any error. This is not detected. And if we do this, FreeBSD thing should be better. Unknown file system. Wait a minute. So apparently setfs is not built into Super Grub2 Disk, and you need to use the classic one for many of this stuff. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Where the hell? Regarding SITFS and HFS and HFS, so probably the Debian group does not have HFS and HFS file system support built in, and that's what we use when using the secure boot version. Probably we should check if the classic version, which we build from upstream group, has those file systems. If it's true, we should make public that if you want to boot other than Linux, if you want to boot HFS2 or CFS file systems, CFS file systems, you should use file systems such as FreeBSD. You should use classic Super Grub2 Disk instead. Okay. Yeah, look at that. I mean, didn't know that you could have so much stuff regarding this. So have we finished with the OS detect stuff? So our latest option was this thing here. So I'm gonna show that. Okay, this guy added options to group everything in such a way that, okay, so we have done this. Do we have anything else that does any of this? Let me see. Maybe I can cut menus entry, OS detect, whatever, grab menu entry and take a look and see. Menus SGD, I don't remember. Okay. What the hell do we have here? So we have EFI, okay, then not detected thing, we're going to see a lot of them. So FreeBSD, okay, FreeDOS, which doesn't have anything, Linux with the kernel option, Linux with the kernel option for BTRFS, MS-DOS, MacOS S Darwin with the description here. Yeah, so we need feedback from this free AHF or AF2, and then ZFS with different kernel options. Windows 98. Yeah, I mean, Windows 98 has the same thing, now that I think about it. And we have, wait, not Windows 98, but Windows NT and Windows Vista. So let's do this. Windows NT. Windows NT. Let's move this to the right. And let's do exactly the same thing as we did. I mean, I'm not sure how it's going to see. This is something completely different, so yeah, so just let's put just a point, that's it. So yeah, just the last 3 ones, and let's have some nice highlight because doesn't seem as good as before. So we've got exactly the same thing. So direct NTLDR, and that's it. So now we can diff. Look at that, it's perfect. Now we can say Windows NT, and the commit should be kernel option event special boot options. These are not kernel options because you're putting something else. So this is OS detect Windows NT. Okay, and the other one was Windows Vista, I guess, because you've got some other stuff here. Windows Vista. Okay, so Windows Vista. Windows Vista. What the hell is this? We should. Okay, here you have 2 different. Okay, let's say that this is Bash. 2 different options. So, yeah. It's exactly the same thing, so we can do it like this, and then that's it. I mean, there are these points there that does the device thing, but yeah, I mean, I want to work with the device stuff so that it's on the left maybe, but that's something that I'm not very sure about that. Okay, so now we should have this new Windows Vista stuff. At least you can see that it's different, that you have this direct boot MRT. I mean, maybe these points are here so that you don't get confused with all of this. Maybe we shouldn't do Windows 7 and Windows. Yeah, just copy and paste the same menu again and again, because the only thing that changes is the name. So you can list here whatever this can be, and here the same thing, whatever this can be. But yeah, I mean, we actually say that this is newer Windows Vista newer OS, so you should see I don't want to have this with a lot of names. It's not something that... Yeah, okay. This means that you can have more of these versions. So it's not something that you want here, because you already have it here. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this means more Windows OS, and this means more options to boot regarding the top one, and they have the same symbol, and this might be confusing. So maybe we can put plus here. I don't know. Or maybe we just leave this as it is. Windows, and maybe we can say here and more. I mean, it's not, this is not, I mean, we could put like this and plus, but this doesn't mean. Let's skip this one here. So Windows Vista. Okay, Windows Vista, that's nice to have, or something. Yeah, let's do it like that. So we can add Windows Vista, and then indent special boot options. I mean, there's no way that this is going to fail because we haven't changed anything, so I don't think I'm going to test this again. Windows NT. Windows NT with different kernel options. Boot options. Windows 10, 11 with different boot options, which is Vista entry. So and now I can work Okay, let's make, I mean, I think this is rather okay. This work is rather okay. Let's make another branch so that maybe we can, yeah, maybe we can push this so that it's not lost, and we make another branch so that we can work on new stuff. So here we should find the fetch thing. Just work with the newest branch. Okay. So finally we have not explored menus. There's group entries based on partitions. Well, this is something that he did with so if you go into the pull request that Thurman did, he has a screenshot on how he did this. What the hell is this? Here it is. So here you have the partition with the label and everything, and wait a minute, the label might be useful. So if you find something, you put the label here and then everything else, and so you are able to remove the partition from the entry if you want, or if this is not too big, it doesn't matter, because right now he has changed how everything looked, because you don't, I mean, if I press right, it's going to boot. I mean, that's nonsense. Okay, so where's the Linux stuff? Have I lost the Linux? Okay, Linux stuff is here. So maybe if you have longer VM Linux something, it doesn't, this is not, it doesn't fit here, and you have to make this longer. So yeah, so what he has done is that for each one of the partitions you've got a so for each one of the partitions, as you can see here on the screenshot, for each one of the partitions you've got this label. But what happens if that this makes sense on operated systems because you had everything together, but when you are dealing with so now we also have everything together, so it might make sense to group something under a partition name, because you know that most of the times you are not going to have, I mean, the problem is that if you have, look at that, LVM recovery single, if you have more than one kernel, as it happens here, okay, so here you have one more kernel. Okay, let's see his implementation to see if we can if we can find anything. So partition title depends on the device. I mean, you should not deal with device. This should be partition device, because we use device in many places. Same thing here with label. So apparently once in run option you do partition title. wait, this is something related to boot BCD, so this is something that he's doing in each one of the boot entries, not only in one place. And the problem is partition title. So the thing is that if you have a new partition, so partition title, okay, here it is. So here you have this title print thing. Wait a minute. What? Here you can see how win.com, he sets title print true so that the next time partition title, what the hell is this? So what I understand, okay, let's view file, maybe it's going to be easier to understand. What was the partition title? Let's search for partition title. Let's, oh my god, doesn't work. Okay, so partition title is defined here. So what he's doing here is before any menu entry regarding a boot entry, he is he's making a, what the hell is this? He's making a partition title, and somehow here, if title print, so if this goes here, next time you are not going to have title print equals false, and you are going to have this only once. Yeah, I mean, this is more stuff. Partition title. So if you have any entries, you don't. Maybe here there is a for loop or something. No, it's not. I mean, it's the main for loop which does that. Okay, here we have more this title print false. So I guess that this if test has been done on previous commits. As always, he managed to do this wrong because he has already done any of this in other places. So let's take a look at the changes directly of all of the commits together. So we can see how most of these entries has partition titles, but then many of them, like the kernel one, has this. Have we print a test for this partition? Then we go on the next one. You know what I mean? And that's something that you know, makes sense when. Yeah, I mean, we have, and now we have to think about this, because we have thinking aloud about grouping entries by partitions. So if we use os detect.cft, I don't remember, here it is. If we use os detect, let's open this on the top. Okay, let me see. Wait a moment. if we use osdetect.cft, it's true that most of the partitions will not repeat. The only thing is that you need to add a partition title. The only thing is that you need to add a partition title if a new entry from that partition is found, or if it's the first time that partition is used. Partition title if a new entry from that partition is found, or if it's the first time that partition is used. But I don't want to make so many. Let me see. I'm not sure I want to do what he did here. Where you are? I don't know. I want to do this. I mean, I wanted something that I could use here, and then and this is something that makes sense to have. But at the same time, you should be doing this for each one of the options. That doesn't matter if it's an operating system or not. So that's something that you need probably to have to handle in an automatic manner thanks to a function, because otherwise this is not going to be easy. Okay, so we probably need a more smart way of dealing with new partition detection so that it's easier to program this in all of STD and not having so much code over the place. Also, do we want this on EFI entries or I don't know. Yeah, is there any boot entry where it does not make sense to group by partitions? Oh, welcome back. There's someone watching. So the idea is, my first idea in all of this is to, you know, we've got this old partition. It's going to be empty by default, and then you've got current partition, which is whatever. Okay, maybe HD0 MS-DOS1 thing. Okay, so what you want to do is something like conditional partition label, conditional partition title. Okay, that's what you want to have here. You want to have a function here which is like that. Okay, let's do. So you want to have something like this. Okay, so you have the old partition which takes the current partition thing if you haven't done it, then conditional partition title, and also you should have a thing like new partition found thing, and then what you do is just say that the old partition equals, old partition equals the current. New partition found. So current partition. So this is new. Maybe here you have. Maybe it's something like this. New partition is number 1. Okay. It's the first parameter, and then the old partition is going to be current partition. Okay. And yeah. And so current partition, now it's going to be the new partition. And then we just export both of them so that we can use them later on with this same logic. Okay, so new partition found. I mean, actually this could be the device, which is the device from the device. I'm not sure. Okay, new partition found, and you put the device. So this is something that you change. Okay, and this conditional title should be that, isn't it? Conditional partition title should have the partition here. So basically that's what it is. So by default the old partition is empty, and yeah, I think new partition found. Okay. Wait, I have done this. So when there's a new partition, I want to tell the system that there is a new partition. That's what it is. No, I want. Okay, when there's a new partition found, we just want to define yeah, I mean device, whatever device. But that way you don't know which was the old partition one. Let me see. So partition to check, it's going to be this thing. So if partition to check is different than what we have saved as current partition, then there's a new partition. Okay. So how the hell do you do this? So this is right. This should be set to empty by default. So if the partition to check is different than the current partition, then we can save. Then there's a difference. I don't need another variable apparently. So current partition is something that we current partition should be empty. Current printed partition. Yeah, that's what we are going to use, printed partition. So wait a minute, this needs to be a variable, otherwise we are not doing, yeah, printed partition. So printed partition by default is empty, so that you can check that. So if the partition to check, that is device that it's changing constantly, it has changed, then we do something. Okay, that's what we want to do. And then the printed partition becomes the new printed partition becomes partition to check, which is the new one, and we export it so that we don't lose it as the printed partition. Okay, and that's it. There's no need to have two partitions or whatever. So we have printed partition, which is empty by default when you do all of these loops, and then we do something. Okay, partition to check, printed partition, we do something, and that's what we're going to do right now, which is this print the label thing. So do something, conditional partition title, which is everywhere. Where's an entry? Actually, if it's everywhere, where's an entry? It should be at the very start of every entry, something like that. Okay, let me see. What code do we have for this? We have a function somewhere. Here it is, partition title. So it's actually its menu entry. So this is what we would have here. Let's fix this mess, please. Okay, we no longer have spaces. So partition title, according to him, has the def, path, and fs type. Def, path, and fs type. Why is there okay, yeah, it's because this menu entry is not detected properly. So close this menu entry here, which, by the way, let's put it like this. Okay, so because this is not regular bash apparently, because you cannot have a function here unless you define it, maybe, and then it's, I mean, I don't know what this would be, but yeah. So yeah, this probe here should be here. Then there's these variables that we don't want him to use, because we don't know if it's going to collide with global variables or something like that, but you know. So my question is, get device probe label. So each time there's a partition change, he's probing for the label so that we have a nice label. And what's the path doing here? Let's take a look at the screenshot. Okay, so wait. So we've got the partition. And the so the path is the partition. Yeah, path. Yeah, because it can be something else. So path is the path, file system, and label. So he's using path. So you can have a partition and a label. What's the BTRFS label? Yeah. So there are different stuff. But that way it's not the same thing as I'm trying to do this, because he's grouping by path and I'm grouping by partitions. So he's using whatever. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Partition title. So this do something would be the partition title, but now. So here I'm checking the partition to check, because this is a device. This is not the path. And that's where I have some doubts, because he wants to use the path. Let's see how he uses the path here on this comparison that we have everything, if I'm not mistaken. And so here you can see how you've got the device as a path. So the second parameter is the path. And I guess that when you are in BTRFS, okay, so Linux regular file system, what he's doing on BTRFS, look at that. So BTRFS, instead of using the usual device thing, he's using the symbol path. That way you can see inside symbol path, you can group everything together. You know what I mean? Despite what makes sense is to group by device, so that you don't have to deal with this path everywhere. You only have to deal with this only once. So if you want to, okay, so BTRFS grouping by volume. We probably want an event by volume on the BTRFS side, the same way that we group by kernel option in Linux entries. So that it's something that can be appreciated, not as much as the Thermon implementation, but good enough. I mean, we could actually, I mean, subvolume, when you end an entry, you end it, and that's it. I mean, why? We could count each one of the entries with some numbers and then do some stuff regarding that. Damn it. Okay, so let's focus. So BTRFS, we are not going to have individual volumes yet. We're going only to work with the device. That way it's easier to find out where the difference is. And we have done that in such a way that it's easier to do. So the other thing that I don't like too much is that we are carrying, so each time, so let's suppose, so the path is the partition, okay? So path is the partition, there's no need. So instead of path we can say def, and we should be fine, I guess. So label, we don't need any label, we don't need any path, we just need the def and the fs type. I mean, actually the fs type thing, yeah, so there's no need for a label, and this is again not well written regarding identing. Okay, so the partition title has def and file system type and label. Wait, no, what I didn't want is the path node. Okay, so path. Yeah, so instead of path we use def. And then this def let's take a look. So probably this device is used here. Let me check on the original code, because right now get device is not using the what's the problem here? This is not right. So he's doing this, but I'm not sure why. Because device is not used down. It's the only thing that it's used down here is def. So why would you get device? Unless you want to get device. He's not using. How the hell do we use it ourselves? How do you use on get device on any of this? Let me see. So we use get device, and then device is created, and we use device. Yeah. So there's no need to create, there's no need for this if you are not going to use it. So you just use def and that's it. So we use def instead of path, and that way it means that we can remove path from here, and we should only have def and fs type as parameters for this. And so here you can see how you prof the label again and again. And I know that Baby Group 2 makes some cachet about this, but it would be even nicer if we did it more ourselves. And then there's this label quote thing that it's not okay. Okay, let me see. So def and file system type, we get to define the label in such a way that it's quote. Yeah. So def fs type and label. Yeah, that makes sense. So the idea is, do we have any idea of what we are doing here? So this is the conditional title, where we would this do something would be partition title with def and fs type, so that we don't have to. So this would be, assuming that we can have that def and fs type. Please wait a moment. Okay, so yeah, wait, have I changed? Yes, I have. So the idea is to the idea is to do this, but only once per partition, and it's like, I mean, the label is not properly checked on Linux, or is it? So here we don't prop the label because that's not something that you should be propping. And get device doesn't prop the label either. Although if we did that, we would have the label there, and we would be fine. No need to do this here. I mean, the only thing you do here is ask for the label each time a partition changes. So Okay, let me see. Conditional partition title. Here you do a partition title with the def and fs type that you have on that in that moment. So we need, when you call this, you need these two options, isn't it? These two options here. So this is something that you call thanks to conditional partition title, and then the def and the fs type, isn't it? That way the printed partition thing. Okay, so each time you run any of these, and you only want to show this, yeah, you want to show this in any option actually. How do you know if you are being called from a bigger menu or not? That's the problem. How do you know if you are being called from an OS detect everything menu? I mean, yes, you know it, but because you need to know, you need to reset the printed partition to empty, the printed partition variable to empty each time you want to loop again, because if you have only one partition, it's not going to work as expected. So I mean, if you are here OS detect, I mean, this process OS detect option thing, which is here, you are going for sure to say here reset OS detect devices. You are going to put here that, what the hell is this? You are going to put printed partition equals empty and export it. You're going to put it here in process OS detect option. Okay, that makes sense to me, and then everything else goes. And if you are on everything, which is, where the hell is everything? If you are on everything, okay, you are going to do the same thing on this process meta option. So process meta option and process OS detect option are going to have here this stuff regarding let's put this printed partition to empty. My question is, how do you set this to empty? How do you set this to empty once you loop everything? So probably here, because otherwise, I mean, okay, let's suppose that we are called from the main menu, which I'm going to open up here because I don't have enough place to show everything. So let's suppose that we are called from the main menu where we have this boot manually stuff, and we are called here OS detect Linux CFG. Okay, and this is process option. Okay, so when you do that, here you are not going to reset everything, so you need to reset it from process option, which is set somewhere. Is it process option.cfg with the one that has this? No, this is not it. process option. Maybe we can put it on process option function, which is somewhere. Let's take a look. So process option is defined on main.cfg. Apparently we are using it everywhere. So in main.cfg, that has this process option thing. Okay. Wait, yeah, it's on the top. There was no need to. Let's see what the hell does this thing. Process option. So here we should set option source menu entry. Just post something, and then config file process option. Okay, so at the end your config file process option, which is here, which okay, and process meta option it does its thing. It does not source and process OS attack, that is thing, but it's not using process option. So we can use process option reset OS devices. This is something that does not make sense on process option because we are doing everything in one go. But okay, I think we could, I think we can define this printed position empty everywhere in these three files. So it's like this: export printed partition, and that way it's always empty. Okay, so we might end up implementing something here, and do not type in the process. Should we source tools? Yeah. So here we export partition, and then the source CFGs, which actually it's only one because process option. So what we do here in main, it's only one of them. Okay, look at that. I mean, this might work after all. Okay, so once you have that, you need a conditional partition title and a partition title thing, because otherwise it's not so funny to do. And this should be added to tools. Is that the name that we are supposed to be using? Tools? Because I think that everything goes into tools. So here we should have whatever we have done the last time. I mean, we did something, but in the end it didn't get here. So yeah, I remember, because we had the function. There's an explanation of what everything does. So basically what I want to save here is all of this without the so I want all of this. Look at this. This is 4. This one is 4 instead of 2. That's not right. Yeah, so this print partition, let's remove it. Yeah, we had said that this should have partition to check. Yeah, so main partition. I mean, it's device, it's not partition, but I mean, partition to check is number 1, and number 2 is fs type. Yeah, so fs type is number 2, and that's it. Wait, like this. So the function is conditional partition title. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a consensus on how all of this is called. Yeah, so function, so this is partition triggers, partition title, partition menu entry, if there is new partition. I mean, there's no output, and so this is partition title, and partition menu entry, and example is something like I don't know, HD0 MS-DOS 1 X4 your label, something like that. And I mean, it's only if you have found anything, and if it's and if there's a change. That's why we do that this way. Hopefully this is good enough. So partition to check fs type. We don't have, or is it bash or not? No, it's okay. Now this feels better. So print the partition, it's going to take the partition to check, which is the first parameter here. And we've got this partition title here. And so far what we are going to do is we are, sorry. So far what we're going to do is to have this in each one of the menu entries, or in each one. Yeah, this is something that needs to be on the different menu entries. So this has been added here so that the printer partition is empty always. And here you export the printer partition with the new stuff if it's different, which is nice. And then if it's indifferent, we're going to print this menu entry also. And so the other thing that we need to do for now in Linux is each time there is a menu entry, which is what happens here, each time there is a menu entry, I mean not detected, I mean if it's not detected there's no menu entry. So let's suppose here Linux entry add. Okay, so for each one of these Linux entry add, we should do a conditional partition title which has a device, and the question is, should I use def? I mean this is what I think we should be using, def instead of device itself. I don't know which is, I mean, get device. What does get device do exactly? That's something that I'm not sure. So yeah, so it outputs this stuff. I actually want def, so you want the parentheses and that's it, unless the label def. I want the parentheses, so if you want the parentheses you would need to use device here so that it's a bit better. Although, wait a minute, this probably works with the device with parentheses. So if you want to work with the device with parentheses, it's actually def. Yeah, it's def because the device is without it, so it's def. So I'm doing it right. So I want to use def, and I want to use what's the name? The fs type. Okay, which is also fs type, and we should be fine. Yeah. Okay. So let me make two commits. The first one, it's going to be related to all of the stuff that we are working on this stuff. So it's something like this. So we have, sorry. So we have this printed partition everywhere so that it resets. Then we have the partition title on the conditional partition title, and I'm not sure why. Okay, yeah, this is a problem. So now we should add tools here, and yeah, so we have these two partition titles, and this is going to be group being partition labels, partition label support, and now the other one is use partition labels. So for now it's on Linux, but later on we will doing this with more stuff. So this is 34. Do we have 34 here? Yes, we have. Wait a minute. We haven't done this properly. This should be 34. And here it is. Let me close this. And damn, so bad. I need to press ESC number 2. So let's see what happens with put manually. I'm very curious. Yeah, I have seen here cannot find conditional partition. What the hell have we done this wrong? Conditional partition title. Wait. Can we have whoa, wait a minute. So this is on tools, which I guess we saw somewhere. Or is it not true that we source tools? Yes, we source tools here. And but the error is about okay. Let's go back. Let's try again. You take a look, conditional partition. So what this tells me is that it doesn't have functions that are more than okay, let me see. Let me use set pattern equals 1, and then we can config file is this something here, group std stdos detect linux.cft. Yeah, but I mean, before showing the menu we should have. Okay, let's go here. Linux. Yeah, I mean conditional partition. Okay, now it works. The set pattern. Conditional partition seems to be uh, latest the conditional partition. Okay, let me see. Conditional partition. Okay, so this is right. However, this one here is not right because it's too big. So let's use stupid count character lines. This is, I mean, 0 GPT. I don't want to give you. So 20 characters. Okay, for a function, 20 characters is something that. Yeah, look at that. 20. So we have a maximum of 20 characters. So we actually want something something like pod title and conditional pod title. No, that's too big. Count pod title. Okay, so what was partition title? Partition title is okay. What about partition menu entry? Or partition menu. Partition menu and yeah. Okay, so this is going to be partition menu. Where it is? Here it is. This is going to be partition menu. This is going to be, okay, so partition menu here, partition menu here, and this is going to be partition title, which is by default conditional, and that's it. So partition title, and so this needs to be partition title. That's it. So now we can work with this. So hit diff. Here's the changes that we have done. So the one regarding the tools, it's going to be number 2 of this thing here, partition label support, because we are going to squash this later on. So this is going to be number 2. Okay, and the other one, it's going to be OS Detect Linux. So use partition labels number 2. I mean, there's going to be a number 3 and so on, but for now this is going to be number 2. Okay, and once we do that, we are fine. We should be fine. So let's reset here, redo this, and see how it goes. So secure boot, and whenever you want to build, we're going to test all of this. Now we have something that it's not, wait a minute, now we have something that it's not, you know, more than 20 characters function name. So what about Linux? Do we have any? Can't find common partition title. I mean, it's a function. Maybe I don't know how to call functions in I mean, Linux entry at. Partition title. Partition title. Oh, wait a minute. Partition menu. Yeah, I know what's happening here. I have used... Wait. Yeah, I have used another way of defining function, which is probably Python or something like that. I don't know. Okay, so this is number 3 again. So hit diff. Okay, let's add the tools, and let's say that this is this thing here, which we should... Okay, let's do this. Let's close this thing, and now we should have this other thing here. So boot manually Linux. Have we managed to do this properly? Oh my god! It reboots. What are you telling to me? What we have done wrong here? So number 3, boot manually Linux. Wait, let's restart the virtual machine just in case something. So press ask number 2. So it's like you cannot prof label or something like that in here. Oh my god, that's concerning. So what we have done here, which is what was not expected. So maybe prof label, prof label should work. So we export this printed partition. We're not doing unless this label thing it's something that it's taking too much. This thing about putting the label here, maybe it's something. I remember. So this is quoted label. I remember that he fixed this so that quoted label, and also this label needs to be empty, and this quoted label also this quoted label is going to be empty no matter what. Or so now maybe this will be working, maybe not. So once again, this is tools, this is number 4 for the support, and I guess I should be going if this does not work. So let's close this and let's run this again, because I'm not sure what's going on wrong there, but it's very nice that we have managed to reboot this thing. So boot manually Linux. Is it going to reboot? Yes, it is. Why? Okay, let me set pager equals 1. Hopefully it will tell us what the hell is happening here. Unknown file system. Okay. Why is there so much of whatever? Okay, press ask. Okay, so boot manually, and then set pager 1 Linux. Okay, so can now download reference module is something about rehabs. This happens for each one of the staff. Then you've got unknown file system. Press enter and we reboot. I mean, what the hell are we doing wrong here? That's interesting. Oh my god. This new code makes STT to reboot. Is it because he's using quoted labels here, or is it something else? I want to know. Wait a minute, this is not right. It should be quoted label and quoted label. Why? I am so bad at this. Okay, so let's add this. Let's amend the last commit because it was about this. And now if I reset, can you tell me, maybe I was running this again and again. No, I was resetting. Okay, now this is properly written down. Let me see if there is any change. Okay, let's go. So press ask number 2. Let's say that the pager is 1, because if it's going to work well, there's not going to be any problem. But if it's going to, okay, press enter. Wait, it's not. Wait a minute, it seems to work better than before. So boot manually set pager equals 1 Linux and this is going to reboot. Let's press enter again. Unknown file system. What the hell is happening here? So from what? Is it something related to probably labeled twice in the same place, or what's the problem with this? I mean, I don't know. Partition menu. Didn't we have an echo n or something like that? Echo n that datetime. Echo n. A space name. So it's echo n. Why do we have those? So that you don't have to put the then echo 0. Yeah, okay, so echo. We need to debug this thanks to set pager equals 1 and echo comments. Okay, so I need to go here. So what you have here, let me see. What you have here is def33. So you've got the special boot options which are indented. You've got this online. You don't have online this partition labels stuff, which is not working as expected. We will see what the hell do we do with all of this. Maybe menu entry should have, I don't know. maybe having, I mean, the other day that we had the problem is because we had this thing somewhere which should not be, where it should not be in the first place. So I'm not entirely sure about that. So now we are using this function staff partition labels, and yeah, I mean, we have done this also where we export the partition several times. Maybe that's a problem. This was the original code where I had this thing here, but now I'm not supposed to have that thing. We should have usual partition title, unless partition title or partition menu is something that it's already there. You know what I mean? Sometimes it happens that you have some code that repeats, but I don't think so. I think, yeah, so it's in tools and that's it. So now that's all for today. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.